Okay, everyone, we have a very special guest here today. I am here with my 7-year-old daughter. Her stage name is Bumblebee, as everyone knows. And this time, she is here for her first big picture, professional, high-level interview. Bumblebee, who do we have on the line? Do you know?
Adele Fornarino.
That's right. And do you know who Adele Fornarino is?
The champion of jiu-jitsu.
I love it.
That's right. Well, I will leave this to you then, honey. Why don't you go ahead and drive this? Now, I can give you some advice about interviews. The first thing you should always do with an interview is say, hi, hello, how are you? And give the guest a chance to explain who they are. So why don't you do that?
Hello. Hi.
What's going on, Bumblebee?
I'm good.
You good? Awesome.
Now, what's your first question? Do you want to ask Adele about who she is and what she's known for?
I want to ask something.
Okay, go for it.
What's your best move in jiu-jitsu?
My best move in jiu-jitsu? Well, that's a tough one. I have a lot of moves that I really, really like, but I'd have to say one of my best ones is an armbar from guard. It was one of the very first submissions I ever learned when I started training jiu-jitsu, and I still to this day absolutely love it.
Do you know how to do an armbar from guard, Bumblebee?
I don't think so.
Well, why don't you ask?
I know how to do an armor, but I don't know how to do it.
Well, why don't you ask then?
How do you do an armbar in guard?
How do you do an armbar in guard? Well, first things first, you got to get a guard. There's lots of different types of guards. Do you know what type of guard, Bumblebee?
There's a side guard, I believe.
Yeah. What else? Can you name another one?
A front guard and a back guard, I think.
Yeah. So what about like a closed guard? Is that kind of like a front guard?
I think so.
Yeah. So one of my favorite positions in jiu-jitsu is closed guard. And if you get somebody in closed guard, right, and you wrap your legs around and you cross your feet, you squeeze them extra tight, and then you got to wrestle them down and you start to try and control their arms, you can get an arm bar from there. But you got to hug the arm so tight that they can't get it out. That's the trick to it. You got to make sure you're squeezing that arm as tight as you can.
Okay.
Maybe we'll practice one day. How about that? I'll come around and I'll teach you how to do a closed guard armbar.
Okay.
That would be a long trip to our house, Adele, because you're in Australia and Bumblebee and I live here in Canada. So that is a long flight. Are you going to be coming by sometime?
I would love to come to Canada. I've never been to Canada before, but I would absolutely love to come visit. I have a really, really good friend in Canada. Her name is Brianna St. Marie, and she's incredible. And I would love to come visit her and all the other jiu-jitsu people in Canada. That would be so cool.
Brianna's a friend of ours. I think we've talked about her before. Do you know Brianna?
I think you might have talked about her before.
Yeah. You know how Adele was talking about closed guard? Brianna is a closed guard specialist. She's amazing at it.
She's a wizard at it. She's incredible with it.
Now, a question that you had been asking, Bumblebee. I know you had all sorts of questions about jiu-jitsu, but I know you also had questions about things like Pokemon.
Bumblebee, are you a Pokemon fan?
Yeah.
You like Pokemon? What's your favorite Pokemon?
I don't know.
You don't know? It's a
You
tough
don't
decision,
know?
Hey? There's a lot of Pokemon.
There's I think 150.
That's a lot of Pokemon. How many do you think you could name?
I have no idea. I'm gonna try my best. The power of Pokemon rap.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
3, 2, 1. Pikachu, Gengar, Ghastly, Haunter,
Yep.
Raichu, Pichu,
That's pretty good already. That's awesome.
and let me keep thinking. I think there's another Pokemon. Let me think.
Do you remember what the jiu-jitsu Pokemon is? Daddy's favorite Pokemon.
Octolock.
Close. Graplocked.
Yeah. And there's Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan.
Yep. There's a lot of martial arts Pokemon.
There you go. I didn't actually know that. There you go. I didn't know that there were martial art Pokemons. That's awesome.
It is true. There is a jiu-jitsu Pokemon, there is a judo Pokemon, and there's some kickboxing ones. So as always, we can learn much from Pokemon and apply it to the real world.
100%. I think the Pokemon universe is so creative and so much fun.
There's I think 150 or more to see.
That is a lot of Pokemon.
There's 150 or more.
150.
Or
That's
more.
sweet.
Or more.
More. That's a lot of Pokemon. You don't know what my favorite Pokemon is, Bumblebee?
3, 2, 1. Pikachu.
Charizard. Ooh, Pikachu's a good one though. Pikachu's a good one.
Yeah, Pikachu's the mascot.
Pikachu is the mascot. Pikachu, everybody knows Pikachu.
I have a question, Bumblebee. We have two daddies on the line right now. You've got me, I'm your daddy, and you've got Adele, and her nickname is Daddy. Do you know why her nickname is Daddy?
Why is your nickname Daddy?
So my nickname is Daddy because when I fight, I try and bring daddy energy, like really powerful, strong energy when I'm on the training mats and when I'm on the competition mats. So daddy energy is all about bringing that alpha energy, bringing that strong energy.
Now, can anyone be a daddy?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think anyone can be a daddy.
Bumblebee, are you going to bring daddy energy to jiu-jitsu one day?
I have no idea.
I think you might. I think you might.
Well, let me ask you another question, sweetie. I've got a question for you. What is the hardest thing that you find about jiu-jitsu?
Maybe learning some certain new things.
That is true. I wonder, Adele, do you have any suggestions for people new to jiu-jitsu on how they can learn new things?
Well, I think that one of the best ways to learn is by asking lots of questions. And if you find something really interesting, trying to get as much information about the thing that you find interesting as you can. So when I started, I really enjoyed closed guard. And I would ask my coach a million questions about closed guard until I felt like I knew all the things that I wanted to know. So asking questions, I think, is really, really important. Do you ask your coach lots of questions?
I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
She asks more questions than anyone I know. So I think she's going to be great at jiu-jitsu.
I think asking questions is the best thing ever. That's how we find out things. That's how we get information. We ask questions always.
Bumblebee, I have a question for you. Why do you think children are so good at asking questions, but grown-ups are so bad at it sometimes?
Maybe because children don't know exactly what something is and grown-ups know what most things are.
Maybe. It could also be, though, that maybe grown-ups think they know what most things are, but maybe they're wrong and maybe they're overconfident. Do you think that can happen?
Yeah!
Yep, I agree. That's absolutely true. I think that adults should start asking more questions. What do you think, Bumblebee?
Yeah, they should ask more questions.
Yeah, I think so too, hey.
So how do you overcome your fear of asking questions, Bumblebee? Because I know that this is something that you've dealt with before and you're very good at asking questions. What should someone do if they know they're supposed to, but they're just a bit afraid to do it?
I would say you should just think. You should maybe just think. If you're like someone who wants to ask a question, but you think, oh no, I'm gonna be embarrassed, then you should say, wait, lots and lots of people have asked questions before, and they didn't get embarrassed. Then I can ask questions too, and I'm not gonna be embarrassed.
I think that that's an awesome way to think about it, Bumblebee. I think that that's perfect.
That's great advice. And I think that, you set a great example of asking questions. And you know what I think? I think if the best jiu-jitsu athlete in the world isn't afraid of asking questions, then we shouldn't be either, right?
Yeah, because it's like, if you never ask a question, then you're never gonna know how to do something.
Exactly, I agree. How do you know the answer if you never ask a question?
And it's always okay if you don't know how to do something exactly right. It's
Exactly.
like, because it's the saying goes, no one is perfect.
Very good, Bumblebee. I absolutely agree. No one is perfect, but we all improve and do our best to get better, hey?
Yeah, well, Bumblebee, we should probably let Adele go because I'm guessing she wants to have dinner. But why don't you ask, is there one more question that's been on your mind that you really want to ask? Go for it.
What is your favorite graphic novel?
My favorite graphic novel. Wow, that's a tough one. I haven't read a comic book in a while, but I really enjoyed reading the Deadpool comic books when I was a little bit younger. They were really cool. Deadpool's my favorite superhero. I think he's very, very funny.
But what do you like about Deadpool? Is it that he's funny, or is there another attribute about him that's appealing?
I think that he doesn't take himself too seriously, and I think that's really cool. I think that he's really playful, but he's also really good at protecting the people that he loves and he cares about. He thinks that the people that he loves and he cares about, that's where all of his energy goes into.
Amazing. Well, Bumblebee, any closing thoughts, any last wisdom to drop on us before we tie this one up?
I would say maybe it's like, don't be afraid to do something if you know it's right, but you're like, it's the same thing to standing up to a bully if they're bullying one of your friends or just a random person. Because if you're like, that person's so scary, I don't want to go near them, I don't want to help that person because I'm gonna get hurt. It's not you. It's not like, oh, I shouldn't do it because I might get hurt. Then, like, you should definitely do it, because if you help them, then you're being good, and it's the same thing as, it's like, and they're gonna be like, and someone else helps them, and they're like, oh, thanks for helping me.
I have a question for you.
Wait 1 sec.
Okay.
And then if you say it, and if you're like, and they might be like, you never helped me, and they're like, oh, can you say thanks to me too? And get like, and they give them something as something nice, and you're like, oh, can I have something too? And they're like, no, you didn't help me, you just standed there.
Well, now
If you help them, then
here's my question though. Do you need a reward to help people?
no, you don't need a reward. Like, oh, I need a reward. No, you don't need a reward, because that the reward, if you don't get something that's real, you still get the reward of being a good person.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Very wise. And that's part of why we train jiu-jitsu, isn't it? So that we can learn to stand up for ourselves and for others.
Because it sounds like, no, boo-boo, you can't do that. And you should help them, because even if you don't get a real reward, then you still get the reward of kindness.
That's right. And that is its own reward.
I think it's very important to be kind, hey, and help all the people that you can. What do you think, Bumblebee?
And you get the reward of a new friend.
The ultimate reward.
That's the best one.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I'm glad we made some friends today. Thank you so much for coming by, Adele.
Anytime. It was so nice
Bumblebee?
meeting you, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Okay.
Hi, Bumblebee.
Take care. Talk to you next time, Adele. Talk to you next time, Bumblebee.
See ya.